Hello everybody, it is Fufu here, and I am back for another Why You Should Use. Today I will be considering Alolan Golem, but this is not the only Alolan form of a first generation one that we're considering today, is it, John?
No, it is not. On my channel, we will be going over Alolan Exeggutor and why you should use it in Pokemon Sun and Moon. But first, stick around and learn about why Alolan Golem is a fantastic bearded fellow.
Design.
Alolan Golem's design is pretty wacky, but I really like it. He's got that amazing facial hair going on that's pretty much enough to sell him to me. Like, that's all you need, some good facial hair. But what I like about it is he's got this funny like magnet thing on his back, and his shell seems to be a bit bigger because his little arms are only sticking out the sides now. He's not got like big meaty arms anymore, they're just like little clawy things. It's kind of funny. I love that he's just got a bit goofier basically, and I've got a thing for goofy Pokemon, so he's got my love.
Before I even get into the dex entry, I just want to say I did not notice the little arms, and I will forever not be able to see those. That is fantastic. But it also has a really cool dex entry. Because it can't fire boulders at a rapid pace, it's been known to seize nearby Geodude and fire them from its back. And I would just love to see, like, if it's just in the anime or anything, a Golem with stubby arms grabbing Geodudes, throwing it on its back, and firing them at people. That'd be terrifying, hilarious, all the amazing things wrapped up in one goofy Golem.
Typing and stats.
Alolan Golem is Rock Electric type, which I think is awesome. It's a completely new typing, completely original, nothing else has it, and yeah, I really like it. It isn't great defensively, it does have many weaknesses of common types like grass and water, and most importantly, it's quad weak to ground. So yeah, it's got a few weaknesses going on, but I think I like testing out new type combinations, and I think this one's a really interesting one. In terms of offensively, it's actually not too bad. I think it works quite well, and we'll go into the coverage moves in a bit, but he seems to function quite well there.
Looking at its stats, it's completely the same as Golem, and that's actually really nice. You know, its HP at 80 is really nice. It's a solid HP stat. 120 attack is really good, and 130 defense is fantastic. Obviously, it has a lot of weaknesses, but you still will be able to tank a lot of physical hits. On the special side, though, the 55 special attack is, you know, it's fine. Who cares about that? You have the great attack. You're not going to be using special hits. But special defense isn't that good. In Sandstorm, that will get buffed a little bit because it is a rock type, so that is something to think about, but in general, not the best. And 45 speed is 45 speed. In this generation, who cares? Everything's that slow. Maybe you could even outspeed things if you run Jolly, and then you can have some fun with its awesome ability.
Abilities.
Alolan Golem now gets Magnet Pull, which is a really interesting one. It means that steel types can't switch out on it. It's like a bit strange because a lot of steel types do get access to Earthquake, so trapping them in, you might just be giving yourself a death sentence there. But it could definitely be useful for specific steel types. Things like Skarmory, for example, which is very common, doesn't really like to take on Alolan Golem because it's weak to electric, and Skarmory can't do too much to Golem apart from like maybe Whirlwind it out, so Magnet Pull is not going to be super effective if it has the Whirlwind, but it could function in some situations. I can see that happening. It still retains Sturdy as an ability too, which can be really useful because Alolan Golem may well be in a number of situations where it could get OHKO'd. As we say, it does have a number of weaknesses, so Sturdy, it can be really useful. It was always the go-to ability for normal Golem, worked out quite well for that. It means you can use sets like Weakness Policy quite well, so it's always a good ability to have access to. But we are going to be looking at that hidden ability, Galvanized. This is really what Alolan Golem is here for. This is a great ability. It means that all normal moves that it has will be turned into electric type moves with a 20% boost to their power. So that is really nice. It means that he'll be hitting very hard with moves like Return, for example, and another one which we all love, which John will go into in a second in the move section. But Galvanized, definitely a great ability, which I think we'll see the most.
Moves.
As Sam said, that Galvanized ability is going to make a lot of normal type moves very powerful, and Return is going to be one you see a lot, and it's really good. You know, Return on regular Pokemon is actually pretty decent, especially on normal types, but now that it's a stab electric type move with even more power, it's really going to hit really hard. Along with Stone Edge, another stab move. Stone Edge is just good in general. You're going to miss a lot, so maybe stick with Return. You got the good accuracy there. And if you really want to get crazy, Explosion is the way to go. Electric type boosted Explosion Stab, it is just, oh, the power, it's ridiculous. It takes out way too many things. There's a lot of awesome things you can do with it. Just make sure you do not explode on a ground type or you will be very, very sad. And speaking of ground types, you do still have EQ, which is really nice. Thunder Punch, if you want to not go with Return, you could be cool. Maybe you'll get a Paralyze with Thunder Punch. You never really know. Stealth Rock is still there, which is really fantastic. And Rock Polish can actually, maybe surprise sweep a few teams. A really nice thing to have for setup.
Set idea.
So for this Alolan Golem set, this one's definitely my favorite to use. You can plop it on so many different teams and it will probably do work. And that is a Focus Sash lead set with the ability Galvanized. We're going to give it the adamant nature so that you're hitting as hard as possible, but you could go Jolly if you're concerned because there are actually quite a number of Pokemon this generation with that base 45 speed. So if you don't want to risk speed tying with them, you could go Jolly if you want to. But I quite like the power of adamant. So the EVs are going to be max attack and max speed. We don't really need the bulk because we've got that Focus Sash. We're kind of expecting to take one hit and then maybe go down. I thought that speed would be a little bit more important on this set. The moves we've got there, Stealth Rock, you want to get that Stealth Rock up early. It's a great move to have, and actually this generation not so many things have access to it, so this is one of the few mons that does, and I think it's a very good mon to use Stealth Rock. So really great reason to use this set. The next move is going to be Stone Edge, hitting very hard with that rock type coverage, and then Earthquake because that hits the things that Stone Edge generally can't, so they go very well together, do Stone Edge and EQ. But the other reason to use the set is that massive explosion. You will probably get to take out a Pokemon with this set. You don't necessarily have to get Stealth Rock up with this set. You can just explode on things if you just want to take out one of the opponent's Pokemon. That really works. You do have to be careful of those ground types, so that is the one thing, and that's the one thing I'd say about team building with it. If you're concerned about ground types, definitely have things that can take on those ground type attacks, so anything flying or levitating or stuff like that, or just bulky waters. You want to be able to take them on so that this set can get that big explosion off. I loved using this set. It always does work.
And if you really want to show off Explosion, just throw a Choice Band on this thing, and you're going to OHKO so many different Pokemon, you're not going to know what to do with yourself. Really incredibly powerful, and I'm so happy they gave this for Golem. You can also run a Sturdy set. There's a lot of really cool Sturdy sets. Weakness Policy, as Sam mentioned, is something that's really powerful. It does have a few more weaknesses now as well, and Special Defense is still really low, so that could really help you out. And in general, probably just more physically offensive thing. There's a variety of different sets you want to run. Sturdy if you want to live a little bit longer and maybe not focus on the blowy up, but if you just want to have fun, explode all over things, and you will get a lot of fun KOs.
So there you have it. That is our take on Alolan Golem. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I really hope that you now want to try out Alolan Golem. I love using it. I think it as I say, it almost always does work for me, so it's definitely worth a try. This isn't the only video that we've done today though. Please go to John's channel to check out Alolan Exeggutor, another really cool Pokemon. I've used it a ton, and it's another Pokemon that always does work. Always actually surprises me as to how much work it can do, and there are so many fun sets that you can use with it. Both of these Pokemon are very fun to use, I'd say. So check out John's video, but all that's left to be said is I've been Fufu, you've been awesome, and hopefully see you next time. Goodbye.